Hey everybody, HMV here, playing more Kerbal Space Program, and we have this massive rocket on the pad. This is 1/3 of what we're sending to Duna, and we're going to launch it in 3, 2, 1, launch! And there you go. If you notice, I've got 4 main sails on the bottom here. Anybody who doesn't like clipping, sorry, but I've unlocked all these huge fuel tanks, but didn't unlock the requisite engines to go under them, so I'm putting 4 main sails on, and I don't care. I'm going to change the way the series works a little bit. It's getting a little bit redundant here with the showing you my ejections to Duna, and eventually we're going to be going to other planets. I'm going to start cutting that out, because you've seen it. Anybody who wants to learn from it isn't going to be watching this kind of a show. They're going to be watching more of a how-to, and I should probably do a how-to eventually. But unless I actually have something to show you or something to tell you, I'm not going to bother putting it in the thing. So I'm going to launch these 3 ships. I'm going to show you I'll show you like them getting into space, and then I'm going to come back when I'm actually hooking them all together and I'm doing something interesting. And we just crossed into space, so I'm going to kick off the fairings. There they go in all their glory. Also, this tank is completely out of fuel, so we're going to get rid of it. I'm going to hit X to make sure I don't... oh, my cat's freaking out. X is just making sure I don't do that. This was... I set up staging on this using a mod. And then we are going to get ourselves up to about 88 miles an hour, so we can go back in time. We're going to get ourselves up to... Oops, we've already passed apoapsis. So now I'm going to make sure that we're not aimed directly at our thing here, and I'm going to hit Z. Oh wait, I'm going to hit space. There we go. That's what I wanted to do. Oh boy, I'm doing really well. But yeah, I'm going to get this guy up into orbit. He has a ton of fuel in him on kind of purpose. This is most of the fuel that's going to get us to Duna. Okay, there we go. 97 by 72, pretty crappy. Let's go ahead and hit the backspace key to get all the solar panels out. And as you'll notice, there's no crew on this. The crew is already up at Duna. And the only purpose for them is to bring them home. We've already sent people there, so I don't feel the need to send more. Although I do have a plant flag on Duna, and I'm going to do that with the guys who are already up there. So that'll be kind of fun. And as you see, this ship is basically the same one we had before, but the payload's a little bit taller, just different size. But you won't be able to see that payload until we're in orbit, so I will see you in orbit. Okay, we are in space. I'm going to hit the spacebar to clear everything out of the way. Actually, I'm going to hit X to make sure everything's off. Then I'm going to hit spacebar to do everything all at once. Bam! This is the big space station. Is what this is. And the space station itself doesn't have any... Ooh, actually, it's... oh, you know what it is? I wanted to pump these out into... Tell you what, let's just turn on the pump. There we go. Now he can use that fuel in there. I had forgotten what I had done with these guys. The space station really doesn't have that much fuel. Notice it says 72 meters per second here. But it's actually more than that, because it's going to use the fuel that was in here and got pumped into here. So we are going to activate this engine. Get him up over... Ideally get his... let's actually turn the computer on here and get... I was afraid of that. I thought the fuel would be in here. Nope. We are completely out of fuel on the ship. See, it says we have liquid fuel and oxidizer. There's got to be fuel somewhere else. Ah, see, it's in all these. Ugh. Let's set these guys all up to 8 and pump on. This is the kind of stuff I want to show you. Me screwing up. Okay. Now, ideally, we should be able to get our periapsis above 0 here. It's a little bit tighter margin than I thought I was going to have. But as soon as this gets above 70... 69, 70, 96 by 70. That is perfectly fine. And we still have a little bit of fuel left in here. We should have fuel in this center stack. Yeah. 183. So we're going to leave that. And what we're going to do here now is we are going to decouple this. And then this guy is going to turn himself around. Going to thrust up just a little bit so you don't want to damage the station. And then now his periapsis is low enough that he will burn up in the atmosphere. It's kind of a funny little ship. It's got the probe core here, this tiny little Oscar tank. I may have been the only person to ever hook a single Oscar tank to a Poodle engine. But that's all it needed to deorbit, and then it could use its own engine to deorbit, and I didn't have to add Separatrons, which can be off-center or anything crazy like that. But yeah, it's just funny looking. And this last piece is the tallest and the craziest shaped of all. We're going to turn on the computer, and in 3, 2, 1, launch. Other than being bigger, it's got more empty space in it, which is why it's bigger, yet the same rocket can launch it. As before, I'll meet you in space. I actually forgot about this thing. It actually tops out a lot lower than the other ones because it is a little bit heavier. So I need to ditch the fairings. I need to ditch this part. I need to activate this engine and blow through everything to get this crazy thing up into orbit. And I'm going to show it to you here. This guy actually has the most spare fuel left when he's done because he has a single mainsail now draining this little tank out. So I'm going to get this guy up to about 80 here, maybe 90, because he does have a decent amount of drag still. A lot more than the other guys did, because they got to keep their fairings up into space. But this is what's going to land on Duna. And it's got, this looks like the drill from Carbonite, and that's because it basically is, but it drills ore. I modded that thing together myself. I'm actually going to turn off the computer so he doesn't run out of electric charge very fast, because I want to get into space before we turn on the solar panels, and sadly that means he's going to start flipping around here. But as soon as we get into space, which we are now, I'm going to hit backspace, and then, oh, these guys are bad. Let's retract these panels, because the last thing I want is these things to break off when I ditch the rocket. We did not retract you. There we go. So yeah, we'll just keep the solar panels on the front. And he doesn't have very good control authority, which is why, of course, I hit time warp just there, because I'm a frickin' moron. So we're going to have to run the engine a little bit when the time comes, because that's just not enough torque to do anything. When we get up to about 88 or so, I'm just going to run the engine just a little bit to give us some torque here. Get ourselves aimed back on the prograde here. And then let's go ahead and get this guy into orbit. Okay. But now we have 3 vessels in space, and we need to get them rendezvoused together. Somebody said that your result... Oh, there it is. Apoapsis and periapsis. That's the resultant one. So I don't have to like click on it here. I can just read that when I want to change my apoapsis and periapsis. So that'll make that a little bit easier. I like that. This guy has no electric charge. Did I seriously? He is aimed perfectly away from the sun. At least he's in orbit. Okay, well, let's kill this maneuver node because it's useless. Let's go to another ship here. Oh my god, I am so bad at this game. Let's go ahead and switch to this guy. Why do you watch me? Okay, we are going to... Okay, tell you what, I'm not going to make you watch this. I will be back when I'm getting these guys together, because you don't need to watch this. Okay, our first 2 ships are getting close to each other here. We're going to be in locked mode. I'm just getting this guy aimed so he's looking roughly at my other one, just to make this easier. And then this guy needs to be controlled from here. And he needs to turn to look at this guy. Set that docking port as a target. So we want to be aligned with this docking port. Now, it's important that we look correct here, and correct is this way. Don't really want to be going more than a meter per second. I think 0.7 is perfect. This will push the purple thing down towards these guys and just magically make these guys connect. And the reason I'm doing this, I'll just tell it to you now. These two fuel tanks will come up and be right under these and actually a little bit out, if I remember correctly, the way I built this thing. And I don't want any risk of these engines being blocked by them. So I'm coming in so that the engines are over the edge here instead of over the other part. And a perfect dock. Nicely done. See, those are going to be perfectly on the edge here. Now you're wondering here, there's a ship here. This is our prospector probe. This thing's going to land on Ike multiple times and figure out where the best place to land is. It's got a ground truther on it, which is what that is. But we're destined to hook the other part of the ship up to this, and this guy is connected to this guy via this docking port, which is, let's say, suboptimal as far as anything is concerned. We'll figure that out when the time comes. And the time for you is going to be very soon because I'm coming back when this whole thing is ready to dock to the other guy. Okay, we haven't quite made it to the other ship yet. We're one orbit away. But while we're in the sun here, I realized that I want to set up the docking port to be ready for him to dock to before I get to him, so that when I get to him, I can just dock him. And what we're going to do here is we're going to disconnect this guy from here, and I think we're going to give him some fuel. Let's just drop him down to pump level 0. Might as well fill him up. And we're going to aim him perfectly north. We're going to aim this whole ship perfectly north, just to make everything easier. Then we are going to decouple this node. Now we're controlling this guy, and he's quite nimble, as he should be, because he is, oh, and his engine was on? I think his engine was on throughout my burns here, which is probably a bad thing. But yeah, we're just going to bring him up to the front here. I don't think I can set a claw as a target. I can't. But I can set this docking port here as a target. Basically, I want to make sure that our target indicators match up. Even though they're not going to be accurate as far as, they're not going to be accurate as far as how far away it is and things like that. But as long as they're matched up, when I connect here, I should be pretty much nice. And I'm actually going to, once this guy gets himself lined up perfectly, I'm going to do the rest with the main ship. And I might even, if things get a little bit rough, I can undock from the space station, grab this guy, and then redock to the space station. There we go. Okay, now we're going to aim him like this, backwards, so that he is aimed directly at the ship. Then we're going to switch to it. We're going to turn on RCS, and we are going to thrust forward very, very slowly. And our target is directly in front of us. Now, using the RCS here, yeah, see, the problem is I'm trying to use the RCS to translate, but the act of using the RCS causes him to rotate because all my jets are up here because this ship wasn't designed to move the space station around, just itself. And I also need to be going fast enough that when we hit this thing, we actually grab it. I think 0.5 meter per second is fine. Okay, we have grabbed him, and we are good enough. I'm going to call that good enough. We're going to pump this guy's fuel up to 8, so he has almost no weight on him. And all the weight is now back in these side tanks here, ready to go. 902 to 1040. These guys have to balance. There we go, 971, 971. Now they're balanced. Everything's good, and now we are ready to dock the entire assemblage onto the other ship when we get there. Okay, there's our target. It's 11 kilometers away. Let's turn off the RCS because it is a precious resource. Let's also make sure we're in locked mode. That should be fine. Now we're going to aim ourselves retrograde. I'm also going to kind of cheat to the right here so we get a little bit closer. Whoa, the wobbling is crazy on this guy. I might be controlling from a really bad position here. Let's control from here. Let's also... Oh. I'm glad I slowed down this much, though, because this means we have a little bit of time before everything bad happens. Here we go. Yeah, it's weird when you're controlling this thing backwards. Yeah, he's a little wobbly, which can make ejecting to Duna a little bit trying. But that's okay. We're fine. We're all fine here, thanks. Okay. Now I'm going to wait for sunrise, which is now here. Whew. Okay. And this is the ship that has no control because I was a moron and didn't put its solar panels in the sun. But they're in the sun now, which is good. Okay. This guy needs almost no fuel to get back down. So we are going to transfer, and where does... Oh yeah, he docks onto here. That'll leave this guy this much fuel, which is a tiny little bit. So we're going to decouple this guy now, and he is going to aim a retrograde, which is hard because he has almost no control authority. But as soon as he's clear of this, I think we're going to give it a little bit of a thrust. There we go. Then we're just going to, as soon as he's no chance of destroying those solar panels there, we're just going to turn on the computer, hit the gas, and leave him alone, and he will deorbit himself very easily. Okay, now this guy needs to control from here, and then he needs to target this guy. There we go. And he has no actual control authority, though. He has no way of aiming himself, so we're going to leave him the way he is. We're going to target this guy. He's already our target. We need to dock to him with this, with the entire ship. This is going to be, let's just say a little trying. He's only 500 meters away, and we do have a decent amount of monoprop. Well, okay, maybe not a decent amount. We have a very small amount of monoprop to get this thing done. Okay, but we are going to turn on that monoprop, and we are going to start heading towards him. And we're not going to be going too fast. But we are going to be going directly towards him. Luckily, we got a decent amount of torque in this ship. And we can actually help our center of mass situation here by transferring some of this fuel from these guys up into here. Actually, let's do it this way. Let's select both of those and say in and in, because that'll move the center of mass a little bit higher to kind of offset this. We're half a kilometer away from the station now. Oh, wait, we can't transfer it like that. We have to set this thing to a 0. I forgot about that, because Goodspeed is fighting us the whole way. Okay, I need to turn off the HUD so I can see this guy. But we do want to be passing him on the bottom side here. And can we set this thing as a target now? But I want to be down here. Wow, we're using up a ton of monoprop. We had 60 and now we have 20. This bodes not well. Let's just say that. If we lose because we ran out of the monoprop, I'm going to be very unhappy. I mean, we can send up more monoprop, but holy cow. Okay, can I see this thing now? Set as target. Okay. Yeah, we need to very, very sparingly use our monoprop here. We're going to try to hit this on one go. We're going to rotate it. We're going to get everything in our favor here. And we're going to get this thing docked, and then we'll worry about aiming it, because that's fairly easy to fix later. Okay, this is the best we can do here. We're going to get ourselves aimed at the docking port, like this. And then we're going to use our monoprop to slow us down. Oh boy, 13. We have... Turn off the monoprop. We're basically out of monoprop. And we are coming in very hot. And we bounced. And we did not connect. Okay, well, we're going to have to come up here with more monoprop. Dang it! How did I run out? Is there tons of monoprop in this thing? No. There's actually no monoprop storage. No, there is monoprop storage, but it's empty. Dang it, dang it, dang it. Okay, well, time for a servicing mission. I have to design that, so I'll be back. Okay, here it is. A little dinky ship. I'm going to launch it, then I'm going to tell you what it does. It's very small. These 48-7Ss are kind of launch pad boosters. They're serving the purpose of solid rocket boosters. I didn't need as much thrust as a solid rocket booster, and these are cheaper than solid rocket boosters, especially when you add the decouplers in. So I figured, hey, why not? But this guy really doesn't have that much control, so I need to be really careful with the launch profile. As soon as we lose the 48-7Ss, we basically lose our control. So I want to make sure that I get pretty high up so that we don't suffer gravity turn woes where your gravity turn is too shallow and you start to have trouble. Our apoapsis is already above 4 though, and we're sitting right here, so I think we're good. I'll come back on stack separation. There they go, and I will be happy to tell you that at about right after I turned off the recording, I also turned off the computer, and I have just been watching this thing climb, and it has been basically a perfect gravity turn, and that makes me super happy. So I'm just letting this thing do what it wants. Our apoapsis is a little higher than we normally wanted, but honestly that's okay. It's killing the drag, which is fine. I could tilt a little bit. I do have just the control authority in the pod, which really isn't that much. It's enough to turn this little dinky thing, but not this whole thing with the engine here. So actually, yeah, the gravity turn could have been better, but we have no control right now. We're just going the direction it tells us to go. And I'm actually going to kick this off, let it fall back to the planet. And I figured why bring along fuel when I'm bringing up monoprop? I might as well just bring a little more monoprop in these little dinky monoprop engines. And just like before, as soon as our periapsis gets above 70, I'm going to stop burning. There we go, 75 by 84. Okay, we are here. We are sidled up next to our ship. Just draining off the last little bit of meters per second here. And I didn't really give this a ton of thought. Mostly I chose a claw over any other option because the claw is really light. Disturbingly light. I would have needed a bigger rocket if I didn't use the claw. You notice we've been through basically an entire tank of monoprop. A little bit more than I was hoping to use, but in the whole vast scheme of things, not a big deal. But I think I'm going to go and claw this thing. I hate to double claw onto something because you know what that does. But you know what I could do, actually? Because I don't actually need to keep this thing. I'm just going to send him over this way. So actually it doesn't really matter. Tell you what, I'm just going to go straight at it. There you go. That should be good enough to get us clawed on somewhere. Because all we really need to do is claw onto this thing, dump the monoprop, and then disconnect it. And not hit the solar panels. Did we grab on? No. That was completely to not hit the solar panels. Okay, let's go this way. And we've grabbed on. Okay. Now we're going to set these guys to be 8s. And pump. And leave just enough monoprop so he can go home. And we're going to release. And what does he have? 300 meters per second. That's plenty. Okay, turn the computer back on. Amos retrograde. And goodbye. Okay, now this guy has 60. He has over 4 times the amount of monoprop that he had last time we tried this. So with any luck, that'll be enough. His buddy is a full 29 kilometers ahead of him, which is crazy. So we need to slow down. And I was watching my old video. It's been a while since I actually recorded that, and I actually edited it all together. I think I could have used the engines while docking to get that dock to actually happen. I didn't have to use monoprop at the end. I could have used slowed down with the engines. I don't know if it would have helped, but I wish I had tried. There we go. 0.1 kilometers is our next encounter. Our periapsis is 70. Our target's periapsis is 70. We are just getting over the thing. Okay, so we are going to hit F5. I know what the problem is. This guy is so wobbly because of this guy here. We need to disable this. Turn the torque off and turn the torque off on this guy. It's going to make it harder to turn as far as raw turning power, but this guy's really wobbly when we try to turn, so we just can't use him for that. Okay, where is his docking port in relation to us? It is... I have no idea, because I don't know where we are. There we are. Okay, we need to go around him because he has no control. So, and we're only going to be going about 1 meter per second here. We're bringing our velocity vector down closer to what we want. Oh, we're already going 2 meters per second, so we broke that rule. But now we are going to just fly by this guy at 2 meters per second. Okay, now time for monoprop. We're just going to use it to slow us down all the way until we're going 0. Yeah, it is so monoprop expensive to do it this way. It's crazy. Okay, turn that off. We used up not too much monoprop. Okay. Set that as our target. Control from here. This is off. Now let's turn this on. There's our aim. Okay, we've got a direction vector aimed in the direction of this guy now. Now we need to bring this up like this so that now we need to turn RCS off and just coast at this thing. And okay, we can spare the time now to rotate this guy. We want the engines again to be going around the outside of the short ends here instead of the long ends. That's what I was doing there. Okay, now we've got this thing set as perfectly as we can. I think honestly we need to control from here. That way the RCS doesn't try to fix the wobbling that's coming from using the RCS. Okay, so speaking of the RCS, let's turn it on. Get ourselves going this way. We're pushing this thing towards here. And we are 56 meters away. We're actually closer than 56 meters away. Because I'm controlling for this docking port, and it is making it a lot easier to do. However, that docking port is a good, I have no idea how many meters that is, but it's a decent number. So I'm basically just waiting for these things to get lined up before I fix it. Whereas normally I would bring my velocity vector closer to the target. We've also naturally sped up to 4 decimeters per second. Okay, we are... Oh yeah, this is fine. The hardest part is remembering to turn monoprop on and off as we do these maneuvers. Okay. And the wobbly nature of them. Okay, we're looking really good. We are looking fantastic. Again, I wish we had to aim at target as an option, but we just don't. Heading forward at 0.3 meters per decimeters per second. These guys are perfectly lined up. And docking has been achieved. Whew. This is a crazy looking boat. Okay. I'm actually going to close all these solar panels. No sense having them up. They didn't even need to be up the whole time, but as soon as I disconnected that guy from them, I lost all control. But this is the ship that is going to Duna. It supposedly only has 230 meters per second of delta V. However, that's because everything is set wrong. This guy needs to be pump level 8. Okay, somebody's got to be holding fuel that we don't want. Oh, like all of these guys. Pump level 8. Pump level 8. And pump level 8. We'll fix what we want the pump levels to be eventually. There we go, 1554. It's a little bit less than I want. So this was a contingency I accounted for. We're going to test this whole thing on Minmus. But that's going to be next episode. Next episode, we are going to burn this guy up to Minmus. This guy is going to prospect around, find us a good spot to actually land. We're going to leave this in orbit. We're going to take this down to Minmus, fill this whole thing up, and then bring the whole thing back up to redock with this guy so that we'll have full fuel tanks that we can take to Duna. Hope you're looking forward to that. I didn't expect to have to do it, but I'm looking forward to it myself. I'm HMV, and I will, as always, talk at you later.